Yeah.
Cool beans. Thanks for
You hear me?
joining and supporting.
Glad to support.
So Seth, I have one Miamian here currently and two on the way.
You did 12?
Two!
Two, okay. I was like, where?
Two on the way. Are you coming? I'm just teasing.
Oh boy, is he trying to get me to come up to Cleveland? Lord,
I mean,
I
it's
might be up
only...
there this summer.
Okay. You'll be here this summer. What are you coming here for?
My dad's having knee replacement surgery, so I
Cleveland.
might use that time. He's in Canton to come up to Cleveland and meet Black alumni.
Is he coming to Cleveland Clinic to get a surgery?
I'm not sure where he's getting it done.
Is it in Cleveland?
But yeah, but he lives in Canton, so I'm not. He hasn't told me where he's getting it yet. But either way, I'll be like the week of July 7th. I'll be up there sometime
Are you
that
gonna
week.
visit your Cleveland Miamians or?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yay! Turn up
That's
in
what I'm
Cleveland.
thinking. Yes, get all the folks together. So there's a
Because
lot of
there are
us up
several
there.
of us here. And I
Yes,
only know the ones from my class. I'm sure there's more from other
yeah, there's
classes.
a lot of y'all up there.
We deep. We're pretty smart in Cleveland.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Smart
we'll
enough to get
find a
into
place and all
Miami.
that. Huh?
Smart enough to get into Miami, I guess.
Yes. If you ever have the free time, you can send me a message of places to consider to do something like a meetup or something.
Yeah, definitely. If you want like a networking space or if you want a restaurant, just depends on your vibe. A lounge, drinks.
Restaurant. That's like a little fun social hour. Nothing too serious for
We
people to
got a
come
lot of
in.
those.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially like in the flats and Ohio City, Tremont areas, a lot of those spaces.
Okay.
Piper knows. Piper is also one of my editors. She's a few things for me. So she's one of the editors for the publishing house. And she was a beta reader for When Love Wins. She's one of the few people that knows the full book, has read the full book.
Twice.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
She's an amazing writer in and of herself. She's on the board of one of the large literary organizations of Cleveland.
Oh, okay. She's hyping you up today. Get hyped
I was
up.
not expecting this Friday night hype, but thank you.
Yeah, go ahead and say the whole bio. Good whole
Yeah,
bio.
That's
well,
it.
for the full
She got all
bio,
the
you need to
highlights.
visit the website. Huh?
Said you got all the highlights. That's it.
Yeah, she's a heavy hitter on my team, which I'm happy to have.
Wonderful.
Happy to be here.
Well, congrats on your book. Now you've been waiting for a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that. Leanna's in the house. Your twin Hope is here too, Leanna. I'll turn the music off. Let me see. I'm wondering how Hope is here. I think they're driving. Maybe Jamia's driving.
Oh, that Hope. Okay.
Yeah, one of the Miamians, as you
Hello,
know.
Hope.
As you know.
Is Audra coming?
I don't know if she's gonna tap in, but she is upstairs.
She's upstairs.
We just had dinner. I had a step party. So some of my friends joined for that. And so we worked out. That's how you know you're getting old. You work out for fun.
Hey, gotta get it in.
Yeah, so they're recouping. I think Hope and Jamia just got here, so it's funny that she popped in.
Oh, Jamia too. Okay.
Yeah,
Got the gang.
The whole crew. Thank you guys for joining. Lisa's in the house.
Hello, Nicole.
Hey.
Yay.
So Lisa is the wife of my audio engineer, Ricardo. And this time around, I did a recording for When Love Wins. I did an audiobook. So that's been a learning curve and something new because I have 3 other books that I published and never did an audiobook. And so they have been vital in this project of getting that underway. And I'm so appreciative of their hospitality and fellowship and divine connection and support. So thank you so much, Lisa. You guys are amazing.
Yes, you did amazing. It sounds amazing. Thank
Thank
you
you,
for
thank you.
allowing us to be a part of it. Amazing.
And I am under the weather, you guys. I'll be blowing my nose sporadically throughout this presentation, but it will not keep me down. So, all right, so let's get started. Thank you guys for joining my When Love Wins virtual launch. When Love Wins, as you guys know, is my first novel. I am a writer. I've been blogging for 10 years now and released my first book in 2014 called How to Overcome Heartbreak, where I shared my story of healing from a really difficult relationship, having no idea that that was going to be the catalyst for a writing career. I really just did not see myself as a writer. I have my undergrad degree from Miami University in marketing, and then I got my MBA in accounting. Thank you, Seth. And so I really was trying to push forward with climbing the corporate ladder. And I did what we all do. I compared myself with my peers, and I got frustrated because my path didn't look like theirs. And I always needed a challenge. I always needed to be learning and to be growing. And I was at a standstill in my career a few times. And so even after I got my MBA, I just expected the doors to just fly open, and they stayed staunchly closed, like they did not fly open. And I just felt like that was God's way of trying to pull out this whole other gift that I just was ignoring and was ignorant of, really, because I didn't go to school for writing. I knew that, yes, I was a good writer, but it's like, who makes money writing? Like, that was my mindset. It's like, I need to survive, I need to live, I need to pay bills, there's no way. So it's been a step-by-step journey of God just teaching me this calling, this purpose to write books that highlight the Black experience, that highlight minority experiences, and infuse them with spirituality and faith. I'm sorry, I think someone's on. Okay, you muted. Spirituality and faith. And it's like my two favorite things, Black culture and faith. Like, I get to do this for a living. Yes, please, And it wasn't until the pandemic that I picked up these stories I had started years prior in a short story class, which, funny enough, my old roommate, Leanna, was my inspiration for even writing my first short story, which was at Literary Cleveland. And I wrote my first short story, Lisa, which is now published in my first fiction book, Stories for the Urban Soul, which is a compilation of short stories. So it wasn't until the pandemic that I picked up these old stories that I kind of put on the back burner, didn't think too much about. And there were these opportunities for Black writers who are unagented authors to submit their works to publishing houses. And that motivated me to get it done, or else I would have just been sitting on them. I would have just been chilling. And so I ended up getting them done. And thankfully, even though I didn't get the publishing contract I wanted, the traditionally publishing contract, I did finish my book and was able to self-publish, and felt a calling to not only just be a self-publisher, but then start a publishing house. So once I published Urban Stories, that's when I got serious about my writing. And I just felt like I had been trying to do all these different things. I had a bookkeeping business, I did taxes. I feel like I'm kind of a hybrid and multifaceted in that way. But I felt like God was saying, just write, like, see what is on the other side of this. You keep trying to do everything and go every other way. I want you to just trust and take that leap of faith. And I finally surrendered. And when I did, like, the doors were just flying open, just very powerful connections, opportunities, being in front of large audiences, getting TV interviews, and people started seeing me as a writer because I started seeing myself as a writer. And it was the first time that I made that transition in my mind of, I'm not just a woman who wrote books, because that's how I thought of myself. I just thought of myself as a businesswoman who wrote books. And it was like, no, I am a writer. And for so long, I had this complex that I'm not a real writer, because a real writer is traditionally published. A real writer writes novels. A real writer does this full time. Like I had all these little myths in my mind that kept me, they were obstacles in my mind that made me think I was not a real writer. And once I agreed with that word, that I am a real writer, I saw like there are stories inside of me that are being birthed out for this generation. And so it's been a beautiful experience of walking by faith. I did not want to walk by faith. I won't lie. I didn't, because it's just so uncomfortable and I'm a rule follower and I'm risk averse. I'm have an MBA in accounting for a reason, but clearly when you're called, you're called. And I've gotten beautiful connections. Everyone on this call right now, I'm connected to because of saying yes. When you say yes to purpose, it opens doors that you never knew even existed. It puts you in rooms with people that you never would have connected with otherwise. And I think one of the other amazing things that has happened in this journey is people seeing me in a way that I know the divine creator sees me. It's like sometimes once we step into purpose, our true identity is manifested and our eternal purpose is manifested in the earth. And so I think we're eternally kings and queens. All of us are called to be kings and queens and royalty. And so we take on that authority and that dominion when we're walking in purpose. And that looks so different for each person. We always want to compare, especially with social media and our culture. And we get so caught up with comparing. And I did too, and I still do. But once you tap into what's in you and you say yes, and you lay hold of that thing, it is just, you're like a rocket. You're just skyrocketing out of this world. So that's what the journey has been. And honestly, When Love Wins, it's so interesting because it came to me at the tail end of me finishing Urban Stories. So I was in the midst of editing Urban Stories, and this book starts coming to me, this book idea of these two young women who are cousins with a rift in their relationship. I didn't even know what the rift was. What I did know was that I wanted something youthful. I wanted something that related to this culture, to the young generation, because that was my experience. And I wanted it to have flavor. I wanted it to have faith and flavor, because I feel like that's me, like faith and flavor. So I started writing this book, and one of my belief systems was I could never write a novel. Like that would be in the back of my mind back in the day. Like a novel was so intimidating. And I feel like God gave me step by step, leading me on this path. Start off with a blog article, which becomes a 60-page book about your life, which is easy to share because it's your life. And then I did a compilation of other people's stories in the sequel of that. Then I did a compilation of short stories. I got into short story writing. So it really was this step-by-step leading me along to get to being a novelist, which is just something I just never fathomed. And I had the time, space, and resources to where I was diligently writing like 8 to 10 hour days. Like all I could do is write, and I had the opportunity, which I know was an extension of my ancestors. I know it was a byproduct of so many writers in my generation who did not have an opportunity, or my legacy and heritage, who did not have an opportunity to write simply because laws did not allow. My heart became burdened by that. Like, wow, how many people in my bloodline that had this gift and couldn't use it because of laws or because of lack of opportunity? And for me, it's like, I have this opportunity, I have a duty, I have a responsibility. So that led me to When Love Wins. That's kind of the backstory on how I got started writing, what led me here, and what motivates me. A lot of times people say when you're in entrepreneurship, when you're building your business, you're walking a purpose, it's like, what is your why? And I've had to go back to that a few times. For me, my why is my ancestors. I don't have children, so I'm not necessarily thinking about the generation behind me. I'm thinking about the generation before because they didn't get to fulfill this. And I also know that there are people attached to this, my obedience. I know there are people attached to me saying yes. There are always people. We're here for people, right? So for me, that's kind of the summary of like how I got to where I am now and what motivates me to keep going. And so I wanted to share with you guys, in case you have not already visited, probably everybody on here has, but I'm still going to share it. I'm going to share the When Love Wins website. And let me know if you can or cannot see. but you should be able to see it. And here's a little pop-up for you to subscribe to my newsletter. And so we kicked off the pre-sale in November, and I just was so blessed this time around to just kind of up the ante with my branding, with creating the aesthetics and having a live illustrator. So one of the things I was blessed about was the illustrator who created this book. I had this vision, which was inspired by one of the chapters in the book called Painted Out. So I saw Ashley, who's the main character, I saw her running away from a man who was walking on water, who actually is Jesus. I'll give that away. And I really wanted that depicted, and I was blessed by the artist. I felt like he got African American features down. I felt like he just kind of made my vision come alive. So that was one thing that was new too. But even just creating this funnel, I just really was blessed by how just how everything is going to another level. And I know that that's a result of me being serious. Like, I know that's a result of me saying, hey, I'm a real writer, and hey, I'm a novelist. And when you start seeing yourself in those spaces and you take yourself more seriously, other people take you more seriously, right? So here is the sales thing. Can someone tell me how to turn the volume on? I always mess this up. Does someone know how on Zoom, like how you turn the volume on when you play a video? Feel free to chime in. I always mess this up, and I'm like,
No, I think when you share, there's a little box where you can check share sound.
oh, okay. Maybe it's advanced sharing. That's probably what it is. Let's try this. You share. Oh, I think it's under advanced computer audio. Look at that. It's doing better. Look. Okay. So let's go ahead. I want to share with you guys a sales video for When Love Wins.
Hi, I'm Nicole D. Miller, author of my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is a story about two young women with a rift in their relationship. When Natalie, after the loss of her mother, moves in with Ashley, she's shocked to find a cold welcome, but her faith motivates her to pursue Ashley anyway. In her quest for reconciliation, Ashley heals from childhood trauma, and Natalie receives much-needed support from her previously estranged relatives. I'm so excited to let you guys know about my new bundles. I'm offering the complete bundle for the paperback, audio, and ebook, the digital bundle for the ebook and audio, and the reader's bundle for the paperback and ebook. The When Love Wins pre-sale is officially launched. Just go to whenlovewins.love to pre-order and receive exclusive offerings before the launch date of April 2023. Thanks so much for your support, and I'd love to hear from you. Simply email me at info@ndmillerpublishing.com. And remember to purchase your copy of When Love Wins today.
All right.
Can you share it with us again? We can't,
Oh, you
we
can
didn't
hear
see
it?
it. We could hear it, but we couldn't see the screen,
man.
the video.
It's like this time I got the sound, but not the video. Last time I had the
Mhm.
video, but not sound. Okay, so I'm only sharing computer sound. So if I do advanced computer audio, files, advanced video, maybe share sound. Okay. No, because that's gonna do that.
I think you want to try to share your screen, and then there should be a
Then
little
share
box that also
sound.
says, yeah. Mhm.
All right, Hope. Thank you. Good looking. All right, one more time. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Nicole D. Miller, author of my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is a story about two young women with a rift in their relationship. When Natalie, after the loss of her mother, moves in with Ashley, she's shocked to find a cold welcome, but her faith motivates her to pursue Ashley anyway. In her quest for reconciliation, Ashley heals from childhood trauma, and Natalie receives much-needed support from her previously estranged relatives. I'm so excited to let you guys know about my new bundles. I'm offering the complete bundle for the paperback, audio, and ebook, the digital bundle for the ebook and audio, and the reader's bundle for the paperback and ebook. The When Love Wins pre-sale is officially launched. Just go to whenlovewins.love to pre-order and receive exclusive offerings before the launch date of April 2023. Thanks so much for your support, and I'd love to hear from you. Simply email me at info@ndmillerpublishing.com. And remember to purchase your copy of When Love Wins today.
All right, were we successful that time? Okay, yay. So you guys know you can go to whenlovewins.love. I have the paperback copy, which is $19.99. I have the ebook copy, which is $14.99, and I have the audio book, and you can actually go there now and get the download because technically the pre-sale is over. So you will get all of your items immediately except for the paperback because that needs to be mailed. And if you have already ordered on the pre-sale, you can either expect that in the mail because I mailed those today for those who won't be in attendance to the book launch tomorrow, or you can come through tomorrow at the book launch and pick up your copy, and I'll be signing books. So as I alluded in the sales video, this story of these two young women with the rift in their relationship, it was inspired from a few different things that kind of happened in my journey. So one of those major things was the loss of my mother, who passed 5 years ago. And I had Natalie, who is the character who moves in with her cousin and uncle. She moves in with them because her mom recently died. She dies earlier that year. And I had her move in with them to get grief support and transitioning into this new stage of her life. But unfortunately, her cousin Ashley, who's supposed to be helping her, is just a hot mess and she's just full of drama. And the girls couldn't be more different. Ashley is the urban socialite, fashionista artist who's a little bit snobby and just kind of shallow. And Natalie is the reserved Christian social justice advocate. So like they're very different, but I see qualities of myself in both. You know, I can relate to both in some ways, but mostly Natalie. So writing Ashley, I would take breaks and be like, oh my God, I have to get to Natalie. Like I just can't with Ashley. Like she's getting on my nerves, you know? And I think that's when you really make a good character too, especially if they're so different from you, to tap into that. But writing Natalie's story, and one of my editors, who I just thank God for her, Gwen, I don't think she's on here tonight, but she really blessed me because when I first did my book, I thought I was just done. You know, I was like, oh, I just wrote this great story. I'm a great storyteller. Everyone's gonna love it. And so thankfully I did get developmental editing, and she was able to critique it and help me shape it, you know, and weed out all of the like foo-foo parts, the weak areas, and strengthen the weak areas and kind of give me feedback in that regard. And so one of the things she said was Natalie's character wasn't as developed. And I knew it was because I was scared to go there. I was scared to enter into her grief. I wanted her to respond in a way I wish I would have with my loss. You know, I wanted this idealistic Christianese, shiny, clean, you know, yeah, I'm hurting, but God is good, you know, and I think I was doing that subconsciously because I didn't want to experience it. And as a writer, and those of you who are on this call will definitely resonate with that. As a writer, you really tap in. And I honestly think me being an empath is what some people would say, or an intercessor, or someone who's a deep feeler, really helps me with character development, story development, because I feel it. I feel all the people and all the things. So, but with Natalie, the feedback was go in. And so once I did, I really just had to flesh out more and go into those hard parts of her pain. But it was therapeutic because it was like I was able to release my own hurts and trauma, you know, as she's walking through it and it's fresh for her. And so that was one positive thing that came out of that. Another theme is mental health struggles. Natalie struggles with depression, anxiety. She also struggles with cutting. And that's something that's very rare that we don't really discuss in the Black community. And I've never personally struggled with cutting, but I have struggled with other mental health disorders, and more specifically around her age, different eating disorders. And I just wanted to bring these things to the surface in the African-American community, especially with the younger age group. It's like, let's talk about these things, you know, let's make it a conversation so that we can heal, you know. And then other themes would be childhood trauma and bullying, which was an experience for me growing up. And I was able to relate that in Ashley's and weave that into Ashley's character as well. So that'll lead me to reading the preface for you guys, because one of the other things in this book is their collegiate experience with Seth. And I have my brother Joe on here too, who's from Miami, will appreciate. It's like, I really had an amazing experience my college years at Miami University that were life-changing. I have lifelong relationships. People are celebrating me right now because of those relationships. And so I really wanted to share with this generation that you can love God and be fly. You can love God and have fun. God is in culture. To get out of this religious box of rules and regulations and doing the right thing, because I think all my friends have tried that and it doesn't work. And it really is about that relationship and that intimacy. And that's my goal with When Love Wins, is to show God with skin on and to show these divine, intimate experiences that we can have in our day-to-day lives. So I'm going to read to you guys the preface for When Love Wins. And if you get the audiobook version, you will hear me reading it live. So when I was 19 years old, I found myself in love with God, or rather, I found that he was in love with me. It was an interesting phenomenon because I can't pinpoint an exact moment or time when I had this revelation. It was like one day I went to bed my regular self, and the next I woke up in awe. I lived in a dorm back then at Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. I had been dropped off there a year prior by my loved ones, which included the guy I was dating at the time. Apparently, engaging in a long-distance relationship and being 5 hours away from family proved to be a bit much. I became depressed. I was recovering from an eating disorder. I had no friends, and all of that undoubtedly stirred up this depression. I remember sitting in an office of one of the few Black administrators, Bill Madison, at Miami. I can't remember who referred me to him, but it proved to be a divine encounter. Mr. Madison shared with me some pertinent information. One, that I was depressed. He did not say this in a mean way, and actually only indicated it. And then two, that Miami had a gospel choir called Miami University Gospel Singers, fondly known as MUGS. He told me this last bit of info because once he observed my depression, I should add, I actually did not agree with his assessment. He asked what it was that I liked to do. Well, I love music, I replied. And thus I became a member of Miami University Gospel Singers. Then one day, a fellow student announced that they were having a weekly Bible study through the Impact Movement. I decided to attend, and those two decisions were life-changing. I joined several other young men and women who were growing in their faiths in these 2 weekly programs, and a few of them are still my BFFs today. I can't remember the exact moment or time my heart fell in love with God, but I know he wooed me on that campus in such a way that I have never been wooed before. And I was not the only one. Several young men and women were hungry and thirsty for his presence. We banded together and were zealous for him. We created groups and programs to spread the gospel to our peers. And though many looked at us strangely, we stood firm on the truth we had been given, that God was real and he was with us. We gave God our youth, and the beauty in that thing was that it didn't happen in a church building. It didn't happen by a preacher laying hands on us. It didn't happen by ministers or elders sharing the 4 spiritual laws. For me, it happened in the 4 walls of a dorm room where the Spirit of the living God revealed himself, and I haven't been the same since. So that preface was just a synopsis of all of the reasons why I wrote When Love Wins, to just really try to capture this divine, supernatural encounter that has affected the last 20 years of my life. For me, writing is such an outlet to try to express something that's divine and eternal. I think our language can be limiting sometimes. Even when we describe God, we struggle with pronouns and all of those things. But creative writing is like a tool I feel like God has introduced to me to really convey some of those spiritual things. And I think they're similar to parables. You know, Jesus taught in parables and people couldn't understand things with their mind, but their heart, it would resonate with their heart And just being in that space of being a creative has been so empowering. This is the most fulfilled I've ever felt my whole life. And I feel like I walked in purpose the last 20 years, but I have not necessarily felt fulfilled. And I think that that fulfillment has come with tapping into that creative gift. Because when we are creating, we are manifesting the image that we were created in, the creator. So when people read When Love Wins, I feel like they'll hear my voice, especially if they know me. But I feel like even more so, they'll hear how my voice sounds to the Father. I feel like they will hear the conversation he and I have, if that makes sense. And I just feel like it's about that communion and intimacy and just being able to relate that in the art of writing. So another part of When Love Wins that I wanted to read to you guys is one of my favorite chapters. And this particular chapter is called Family Feud. The setup for the chapter, without giving too much away, is the family, Natalie and Ashley's family, are gathering around the table. It's a good old fashioned soul food Sunday evening or whatever. And every chapter alternates in When Love Wins. So you have the first chapter starts with Ashley, alternates to Natalie in the second chapter, so on and so on until the ending. So it starts with Ashley, the book starts with Ashley and ends with Ashley, and there is a bonus chapter, the epilogue. So I would say, both young women are the protagonists, depending on what chapter you're reading, but Ashley is probably even the more main protagonist because she's the one that I get to see more transformation with her. So, but I'm going to do a reading from this particular chapter called Family Feud. Cheryl cut up pieces of ham into thinner slices while asking, "How are your classes coming along, Nat?" Natalie nodded while digging into her mac and cheese. "Great. I love the writing class I'm taking, and the fact that I'm still able to work around my class schedule is truly a blessing." "Oh yeah, Malcolm did mention you got a job." Cheryl smiled broadly. "That's awesome, baby." "Yeah, she's over there at Devon's. I love that place. I mean, I haven't been there forever, but I sure do remember how good the coffee is," Malcolm chimed in. "Nat and I ran into him the other day at Denny's. He is definitely a fine young man doing big things." "Yeah, Devin is amazing. He's a great business owner, and I'm learning a lot from him." Natalie tried to keep her face from grinning too much by ramming more food into it. "I'm proud of you, honey. You're doing so well," Cheryl said with a short pat on her back. Natalie was thankful for the praise, but also somewhat embarrassed. She stole a glance at Ashley, who had been unusually quiet. For some reason, Samantha chose that moment to lean over Malcolm towards Ashley. "Ashley, your dad tells me you're studying to be a fashion designer." Uh-oh. Natalie was reminded of the conversation she had walked in on earlier in the kitchen between Ashley and Graham's. Ashley is not trying to hear from this woman. Ashley's eyes darted to Samantha. She gulped down some of her lemonade before answering flatly, "Yeah." "Well, I'm a little versed in the industry," Samantha replied in a bubbly tone. "I'm actually a fashion marketing manager." Ashley chucked her chin up and down, her face remaining blasé. Malcolm piped up, "Yep, Samantha has been a great asset to her company. You can learn a lot, Ash." He peered from one woman to the other on either side with a lopsided, mushy grin. Ashley rolled her eyes before shoveling a spoonful of baked beans into her mouth. A moment of silence hit the room, and Aunt Cheryl gestured to the new couple, switching the subject. "Now, how did y'all meet exactly?" Malcolm told the story, saying they were at some networking event he went to for his firm. "I was thinking I was going just to get clients, but I walked away thinking of nothing else but this young woman." The fondness in his eyes was evident as he chomped on a piece of ham. "Young is the right word," Ashley muttered, "only she said it loud enough for everyone to hear." Natalie's mouth dropped, and Malcolm pitched his daughter a look. Everyone else busied themselves eating, including Samantha. Ashley commented with a shrug, "What? She is," as her eyes sank to her plate. Malcolm's voice was stern. "That's enough, Ashley." "What's up with your job search, Terrell?" Better than any race car driver, Ashley switched lanes, veering her attention to her cousin. Popping both elbows on the table, she held her fork in midair as Terrell's face screwed up. Still looking, he said, munching on his food. Oh? Ashley's voice slithered into an eager edge of taunting. You've been looking for a while now, huh? Aunt Cheryl jumped to her son's defense. Leave him alone, Ash, her tone warned. What? Ashley batted two long-lashed eyelids. I'm only asking a simple question. I just never known nobody to take that long finding a job. She heaved up her shoulder, then inhaled more cornbread. That's all, she finished, with a smug smack to her lips. Terrell stated in an irritated voice, Yo, it takes time to find the right position. I mean, I just don't want to take anything. Gina rubbed his hand to comfort him, but he flicked her fingers away. Really? With a jut of her chin, Ashley swallowed her food. Don't you think you should? You got a whole family to take care of. Right on time, baby Stacy cooed in Gina's lap. The young mother pulled out a bottle, but Stacy pushed it away, reaching her chubby hands for the yams on her mama's plate. She wanted the good stuff. Oh, Lord, Natalie fought a sinking feeling in her stomach regarding the interactions between her cousins. This can't be good. Yo, why you worried about me anyway? Terrell said. He puckered his lips into a sneer. You ain't doing much yourself. I bet you don't even know how to spell the word job. His round mocha face contorted into spite as he fired out each word. Ashley had hit a nerve. Natalie wrung her napkin under the table while shooting a telepathic look at Grams. Grams, do something. Y'all just gonna love my pecan pie, Grams declared, gazing at everyone from her prominent seat at the head of the table. She clasped her plump hands while giving a hopeful smile. It's a new recipe. But it was as if Grams had said a word. Ashley would not be distracted. Yeah, Ashley answered her cousin. I'm doing more than you. She held her gaze steady on Terrell. She was a vetted soldier who would not miss aim. I'm going to school, doing something with my life, she spat. With another jut of her chin, Ashley crossed her arms, foregoing the meal on her plate. Huh, a few classes every now and then ain't nothing. Terrell glared. All you do is pamper yourself with your daddy's money and post on social media. His tone was callous. And was it just Natalie, or was a temperature rising in the room? The walls gotta be sweating, it's so hot. Ashley fired back with the accuracy of an M80. Oh, you the one to talk about living off your parents, dear cousin. Snarling, her voice rose as she flicked an accusatory hand at Gina. You got a whole damn family living up in your mama's house. I'm using a cinnamon recipe this time, Grams practically saying out. Not that anyone was listening. Natalie's eyes swapped back and forth between her cousins in alarmed intrigue. Who needs Housewives of Atlanta when the frickin' show is at the dinner table? Ashley sat with arrogance as if she were the Queen of England. Terrell's hands were tightly balled like Mike Tyson in his prime, positioned and ready on the table. Natalie thought in unnerved humor. I wonder who would win in a fight, the Queen or Mike? Her eyes flew from one relative to the other. Y'all need to calm down. Malcolm finally cut in, piercing a threatening stare at his daughter. Ashley, chill out. Yeah, Aunt Cheryl agreed and leaned over to soothe the baby since Gina was still struggling. She snuck a pinch of mashed sweet potatoes into Stacy's mouth, and the child stopped fussing. Y'all ain't gonna raise my blood pressure today, her aunt declared. Nuh-uh, not today. Boy, you ain't took a class since 8th grade. Ashley ignored her elders and went in on her cousin. You cut all through high school. I'm surprised you know how to read. She paused and examined her nails with a pleased expression. Wait, you do know how to read, she snickered, slicing vicious eyes at Terrell. Right? You an arrogant, selfish Terrell. Cheryl caught off her son while jumping to her feet, but the intended expletive still stained the atmosphere. That's enough. Startled by her abruptness, the baby started crying, and Gina rushed to quiet her by bouncing her on one knee. Shh, shh, Gina whispered to baby Stacy in quick, soft tones. Daddy, you just gonna let him talk to me like that? Ashley's tone was incredulous while hopping up from the table. Ashley, you need to stop antagonizing people. Now sit down and eat your food. Malcolm wore an exhausted expression as he glared at his daughter. Time seemed to stand still as each Bennett sized the other up. Feverishly rubbing her leg under the table, Natalie puffed out of breath, her heart rate escalating. Lord, what should I do? Save Ashley, came the instant reply. Oh, okay, because I'm not Natalie, I don't get defended. Ashley's voice was loud and tearful. I bet you if somebody called her out of her name, you'll be trying to fight, dude. She backed away from the table, her eyes aiming daggers at Natalie with both arms folded. Natalie gasped. What? How did I get brought into this? Ashley, if you want to eat your food alone, then you can do that and go in the basement. But I'm not doing this with you. You're embarrassing yourself. Malcolm had had enough. He slammed down his utensils and wiped his mouth with more force than was needed. Oh, so that's your solution, Daddy? Just get rid of me, huh? Ashley's shrill voice bounced off the walls of the small living room like a boomerang. She was practically yelling now. Natalie was torn. Should I say something, or will that only make it worse? Save Ashley beat along with the rhythm of her heart. But Lord, how? So I'm going to stop there. So there is a lot going on in that scene. There's a lot of characters, a lot of conversation, but basically Ashley is upset because her father brought his new girlfriend to the dinner table. And so she's kind of acting out and she just deflects her emotions towards her cousin and tries to go in on him. And then she kind of leaves in her little temper tantrum. And as a result, Natalie is praying for her cousin. And it just really shows how in tune Natalie is, because she's hearing in the midst of all of this chaos that's happening, her internal dialogue with God, who's telling her to save Ashley. And so the way that Natalie saves Ashley is through love, hence the title, When Love Wins. And it really is about sisterhood. And it's about having this desire for someone to be healed and whole, who's making unhealthy choices and choices that are causing them to kind of stunt their growth, their character growth as well. But also it's affecting Ashley physically in her physical body as well as her mental health. So I won't give away too much till you read the book, but I very much love that scene because I got to play around with, even though the whole thing is from Natalie's perspective. So all of the thoughts that happen are Natalie because it's her point of view, but it's such a close picture of what she's picking up with each character and how they all respond to the chaos that's starting to ensue. I just had so much fun with that. So it is a nod to soul food for those of you who remember the 90s classic. And that's one of the things that I love doing in When Love Wins is weaving urban culture and those old school TV shows and books and all of the things that influenced us back then with music. I love weaving that into my writing. Music is huge for me, so I incorporate songs in the book as well. I couldn't get the rights to record or to list the lyrics like I wanted to initially. I only got the rights for one song, so there's only one of those. But I did, make mention of several different music songs, and I wanted to show the different generations and what they listen to, and just be in the space of passing down African American culture, because we have had to create our own culture because we were shipped here and we lost our identity, we lost our language, we lost our heritage. And so what we started was our own culture, and hip hop is definitely a part of that. And so I pay homage to that in my writing. And you'll find that when you read When Love Wins, that there's a lot of song references and specifically just the generations passing that down to next generations. So one of the things I wanted to let you guys know about too, that we got to create this time around was the quiz. I created an Ashley and Natalie quiz, and I'm gonna drop this link in the chat so you can check it out and you can go there. And I will also pull it up on here so you can see it pulled up. And I'm sorry that I'm stuffy right now. I am dealing with a cold. So I'm just working through it. But here's the When Love Wins quiz. When you go, you'll click enter and then you'll take you'll get a series of questions that will kind of let you know, do you identify more as an Ashley or do you identify more as a Natalie? Since they're like night and day, more than likely you're gonna swing one way or the other. Like I said, I have some character traits that are both, but I know that I'm more of a Natalie. Thank God, for his work. But that was one thing I wanted to share with you guys. I also wanted to share with you a free download for the chapter 1, if you're interested in just kind of like taking a peek. So I'll share that as well in the link. And I would also love if you have a response to the quiz that you could email me so I could make sure it's working right. It's like, okay, this is you. Or it's like, nope, that ain't you. Or maybe you hit something wrong. But here is the When Love Wins free chapter link as well. So one thing that's fresh that I wanted to definitely make sure I covered, because this weekend, as you guys know, is the book launch. So tomorrow I have the physical launch at Sam Silks off Libby Road in Maple Heights. If you're in the Cleveland area, definitely come through from 6 to 9. And I also wanted to share the link for the ebook on Amazon. And one of my fellow writers here, Sage, is on this call. She hit me to this. I've heard about it before, but she really was able to tap into this. So basically, here's the link for you guys to do the 99-cent ebook download for When Love Wins. When Love Wins is now available on Amazon. And I personally don't push my books on Amazon because I don't get the profit. Like when you're ordering books from indie authors, they make most money when you're ordering from their website or in person, because when you order on Amazon, you only get a percentage of royalties. However, because this is the launch and I want to try to capitalize on that launch, I set my price to be 99 cents, which you guys should be able to see right now that the price is 99 cents. So if you go on Amazon, you click on Kindle, you download it, that will help me in getting seen as an Amazon bestseller if I can get enough clicks. So I'm really pushing my email list, my social media team. You guys have been phenomenal, blasting all week. And then, of course, these book launches. So that's the link. Please go there, click the Kindle version, download it. Now, after you download it, I just want to give a special shout out to my handy dandy editor, Piper, for already doing this. Thank you so much. But put up a review, and Piper has already put up a review. I so appreciate that. She had the ability to do so because she's one of the few people that has read the whole book. She's also a go-getter, and so she just kind of killed that. So thank you, Piper. But if you guys could go there, that would help me out so much in trying to get the word out. So much of being an indie author is awareness. And that's why I put so much work this time around into building my brand, into building my team, and just really being on the grind and hustle of getting my work known, because you could write a great story and then no one can ever read it. There are plenty of people who are great artists, musicians, writers, and we never hear about them simply because of the lack of knowledge. And so I'm on it this time. I'm hoping that I can really make waves with this story. I think it's powerful. I think it's transformative. I think it's needed in our community. I think it's healing, specifically for our youth. So that's that. So another really great thing that I've been up to, as some of you guys know, is I am a hybrid publisher. So I started my publishing company, I don't know, it was probably last year, in the middle of me publishing my own book. A good friend of mine, Alicia Ellis, came to me. She wanted me to publish her book, and I was trying to push my ebook to her because I have an ebook out called Self-Publishing 101, Everything You Need to Know from One Author to Another. So I basically give my experiences with self-publishing, and I was trying to push that ebook to her. And she's like, no, girl, I want you to publish my book. I'm like, okay, here we go. So the interesting thing is her mother gave me a word, maybe 4 years prior, where she was like, you're going to start a publishing company. And I was so out of the loop with that. I was dealing with the loss of my mom. I still saw myself as a businesswoman. I probably had just started my bookkeeping business. So I just kind of put it on the shelf, like, yeah, you know, we'll see. That's kind of out here. Funny enough, her own daughter is the reason that I started the company. So I ended up getting my website made. And yes, that's said Nicole is busy. Sage said, do you think your book is suitable for teens? Thank you for asking that, Sage. I would say 16 and up. So there are some scenes that are a little bit racy with marijuana usage. I would say it would be rated like PG-13, you know? And so I would say 16 and up, no doubt. And if it's younger, I would say ask the parents, because I was reading all types of stuff as a kid, but different days back then, you know, we know better now. So I'm giving you guys the website, ndmiller.pub. That is, I should probably put the W's because maybe it doesn't let you click on it. So ndmiller.pub is the name of the website. And then I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can check it out. So this is the website. So in the midst of me launching the book, When Love Wins, we are launching the website for ND Miller Publishing. So just special shout out to Made for His Design by Tatiana Page, who I connected with a good through a good friend of mine. She did an amazing job. These were my branding colors. She incorporated them. I really wanted it to reflect diversity. I really wanted to show that we are about empowering and equipping writers who want to be independent publishers. And we're considered a hybrid publisher, which means that we're going to walk with you and partner with you to get your book out there, but you're going to keep all your rights. In this case, right now, you can keep all of your royalties. You're getting our expertise and credibility. I have really great editors on staff. One of them is on this call. And so it's a win-win, you know, and I've heard horror stories about people who have been ripped off. My heart grieves for those people. I've heard horror stories about people being forced to purchase all these books that they couldn't sell, you know, and so I just try to help my clients avoid the pitfalls that I've made and that I've heard others make. So speaking of my editors, so we have Shonda Bynum, who specializes in developmental editing, and then Piper Yutzi, who's on this call right now, who specializes in line and copy. Both are amazing at what they do. Piper edited my own book, When Love Wins. I thank God for editors because as much as I can do it, I don't want to do it. So I can do it, but I don't want to. So if you guys get a chance, you can look into that. If you know people who are looking to publish, they don't know where to start, I do one-on-one coaching calls. You can go on my site and schedule a consultation there. Yeah, and I can help them get started. It's a 45-minute conversation where they tell me what their goals are and I help them take the next steps because I really am about empowering others to manifest their dreams. I feel like that's the gift I've been given. All right, so for the last 10 minutes of the book launch, the virtual book launch, I want to give you guys, thanks, Seth. I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. I know I've just kind of thrown a lot out there, but if you guys have any questions, you could share them in the chat or you could raise your hand and you know, or unmute yourselves, whatever you want to do. Go ahead, Seth.
Are you gonna be writing any more books?
Ooh, good question. So I have already started one novel because one thing I failed to mention, so thank you for bringing this to my attention. With When Love Wins, I am piggybacking off of some characters and a venue I started in Urban Stories. So in Urban Stories, the first two short stories are Lisa and Joe's, and they both are at a Black-owned cafe called Devon's in New York. So with When Love Wins, I pick back up Devon's cafe, but I do it from a different perspective. I do it from the young 20-something scene, not the older 30-something journalists that Lisa is. So you get to see Devon a little bit more in this book. You get to experience Devon's cafe more. I do a cameo appearance of Lisa in this book, which was fun. And Denise is one of the waitresses who was featured in the short story for Urban Stories. And then she has a prominent role in When Love Wins. So my readers who are following my work are going to start hopefully falling in love with these characters like I have and being attached to them. And so I'm seeing a world of spinoffs of these characters. So I have started, and this is insider information, but I have started Lisa's story because I know that she'll be the next novel. Because I want to flesh out what happened with her in the short story for Urban Soul. So yeah, I see a series of these books, but honestly, I want to see the increase first. So I'm negotiating with Jesus, like, look, I don't want to write another book until I see, until I see the outcome, because it is a lot. It is laborious. And with When Love Wins, I did so much research. Like, I didn't just write the book. I went to New York. I stayed in Jersey. I did the routes that I have my characters do. I did a focus group of 20 somethings because I'm dealing with 20 somethings. And I wanted to make sure I had the language and the movies and the style that they're listening to. I did interviews with people from New York and New Jersey because I wanted respect from them. I wanted them to be like, yeah, she nailed it. I had people involved helping me with that. Some of my friends from New York were able to assist. I read it out loud to several people. I had my beta readers, and that's on top of writing the book. And so even with writing it, I thought I was done. I spent a whole nother year of editing the book. So much of writing a book is editing. I didn't realize that until this experience. So because of pouring so much of myself, and then we had the audiobook, which was its own thing. And then we had the funnel for When Love Wins and all of those things, and then the social media and then the marketing. So, and I was only able to do this because I had to do it full time. I had to let go of bookkeeping. I had to build up the publishing house. I just had to be all in. And God was turning my heart towards being a full-time creative. He was preparing me to just walk by faith and be like, this is where I'm calling you. Trust me, so I have to believe that like I will reap from all of this sowing. And I do believe it'll come. It's just a matter of time. So yes, I have more books in me, but when will they be released? I don't know.
Take your time.
Yeah, I definitely will. I don't see myself continuing what I've started with Lisa. I don't see myself doing that till the end of the year. I could be wrong. There's some other projects that are stirring as well. So, but I think I'll probably pick it back up by the end of the year. Thank you for asking. Any more questions, guys?
So
There's a question in
Nicole,
the chat.
I have one.
Go ahead.
So have you thought about acting?
I knew you were going to say something.
You know where I'm going with that. It's really good, you guys, with that audiobook.
Acting. So I have not seen myself necessarily acting. I do hope that my books are one-day movies. Like that is definitely a desire of my heart. I could see myself like having a minor role, but I would not want to have like a major role. And I think God has just given me a lot of gifts. I know he has. And so I can do a lot of things well, but I think the meat of what I'm called to is writing. And like some of you guys know this, music was always my first love. Like that was my first love out the womb. So I never entertained literary writing, And so in this process of pivoting and diving into this world, I've fallen in love with literary writing. So I think that I will do a few different things, but I feel like this is like the meat, at least in this season. And I think there will be other things that kind of like branch off from that, and the media and the music and things will be a part of that experience. But who knows? Because we just can't call it,
Hey, Nicole, I have a question for you.
Hey.
Well, number one, thanks for the invite. Really glad I can be a part of your book launch this week.
Thank you for coming.
So from the outside looking in, you make it look easy. Clearly, you're a gifted writer, very creative. But maybe talk about your journey a little bit as far as the business side of this, because you have your own publishing, you have a publishing company. Maybe talk a little bit about like how important that is, and is that something common of authors? Do most authors have their publishing, and what made you kind of go on that journey?
I'm so glad you talked about that. One of the things I say often is a lot of artists and creatives are not business minded. It's I don't want to say abnormal, but it's unique to find someone like me who's kind of multifaceted in that way, and I just see the divinity of God setting it up so that business would be my foundation. I think you're in the music industry and you probably have heard this, like it's 90% business, 10% the creative part, right? So with being an author, being an indie author, because that's different than being a traditionally published author, you have to work to get recognition, to get sales, to be established and successful. That part is the business part. I'm so grateful that my background is in bookkeeping, because that affords me to be on it with royalties, to be on it with what's the best way for me to make a profit, what is the strategies that's needed for me to get the profit. Like I said, please do not buy from Amazon, buy from me. Y'all can buy the ebook download this weekend, that's it. And even when it comes to, talking about royalties and your percentages and all of that. So I'm really grateful for my understanding of having a business background, because I don't think you can be a creative without that, or have a team or someone that you trust who has that, who's for you and it's not ripping you off or taking your money or whatever. So I think it's vital. I think it's vital to be successful and to be known. And some people, they just write a book and that's cool, or they just want the book for their family. It's just about your goals. But I think that I'm supposed to reach a lot of people. And so my goal is to basically put my work in its best example to be seen, the best limelight to be seen. So hope I answered your question. I don't make it look easy. I just, you know what it is? It's just purpose. When you're in purpose, I think it always looks easy. And I think doing the scary thing was being all in. And that gave me the tenacity to just go hard. Because it's like, well, if I'm all in, I'm an all in type person anyway, all in or all out. So if I'm all in, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, And so if I'm going to do it, this is what it's going to look like, But it's just showing in and day out for what's stirring in your heart. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You can't see it. You're just hoping, you have a glimmer. But what encourages me is there have been so many people before me who've done it and it's worked. People do this and it works. I'm not the first person. So I just have to believe what's in my heart. But yeah, that's it.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
I really have been really blown away by how you tenacity to remain steadfast in the middle of, your own struggles and your own way of trying to figure out what it is that God wants you to do. And you are, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'm celebrating my 40th birthday on Monday.
Awesome. All right. I'm 62 and I have been a single parent and, and just plowing through the educational. Of course, I got married later on in my life in my 40s, and all my kids are having kids. But I took a story and a struggle and turned it into a movement, for disenfranchised families who are prone to trauma, chronic trauma, and a narrative with it, But the way that you are tailor making your own life and delving deep within you, you found that resource, and also the intergenerational connection to want the voices of maybe your grandmother who like you said back in the civil rights. I mean, I there's a lot of stories that this is your I'm not going to go on about me, but there are a lot of comparisons. We can maybe talk and meet, and I'm a podcaster, so I want to interview you if you don't mind. Okay, because you have a lot of richness, and I think that I think that you need a lot more kudos, and recognition, and I love the fact that you're taking that business skill and you are using that, and to leverage the giftedness that God's given you, and so when you were younger, did you ever see yourself doing something like this? Like, did you ever play act? Because me and my sister, we were play acting. We were doing commercials, and I'm a voice actor too. we were doing commercials, we were doing our own imaginary play. So, share with us what
Yeah.
that was like for you.
Yeah, so I don't remember play acting. What I know to be true is I was an avid reader. So I read all these books, Sweet Valley High and Fear Street and Stephen King. And then I started reading the stuff my grandma was reading. She was an avid reader. So we were like two peas in the pod reading books.
Okay.
Young Steels, and then like the urban 90s stuff, Sister Soldier, Omar Tyree, Terry McMillan.
Yeah.
So I definitely struggled socially as a kid. I didn't have a lot of friends, so I would hide in the world of books. Books were my escape, and books became my friends. And
Wow.
so reading these stories, I had friends until I had real friends.
So they took a life of their own. They became a person.
Yeah, and I didn't know that being an avid reader makes you a good writer. I
Yeah.
didn't know that God was grooming me during a lonely time when I felt so alone, and he was using this tool to give me an outlet and to comfort me, that it would also be cultivating a gift in me that would comfort others and help other people. But I also had a great imagination. I had an imaginary friend as a kid. Like I
You
remember.
did too? Okay. There you go. Great
So-
writers have imaginary friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would say is I definitely was a leader. I was never one to follow a crowd. I was more of like leading the crowd. I was very strong-minded, strong-willed, all the things you need to be an entrepreneur. Very tenacious, very driven, focused, goal-oriented. So all of that kind of played into being an entrepreneur, but the creative space usually came out in music. Like I was big in dancing and singing, but reading was a love as well. And it was a place to hide from, loneliness in my childhood.
It's a great way to, those are the great reinforcements. It's the healthiest thing that one can do. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I put my email in the chat, so you can email me if you guys want to email me at info@Indie Miller Publishing. But I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna let you go because I know we're kind of over time.
I have a question.
Oh Lord, so hold on, let me
Got a question.
how do I turn off the background so they can see you?
Can you go to that arrow next to screen?
This way.
Okay, Seth, I see you. No,
Right
that's
there,
not it.
Sharon.
Wait, who knows how to
Right,
do
no,
that?
let me see.
I don't know how to do that.
How many graduates does it take to turn off?
Seth, don't tell Miami. Oh, you just had it. I saw it. No, we're coming in
Where
here.
was
blur.
it?
No, wait. Don't tell them we don't know how to
Was
turn
it
off the Zoom blur,
participants?
Seth. That wasn't in our classes back in the day.
I think it's
Hold
under
on, what's
More?
No, it's under where we were because that's where I was before.
That's where I would think it would be
It's under
advanced settings.
Yeah, change your background settings. Nicole.
You can just sit here and I can see you.
It's okay. Okay, so there is a
Others-
let's see.
Yeah, you
One,
sit here.
two,
Oh,
three,
how
four,
many people are there?
Oh my gosh, look at all these
How
friends
many
and sisters.
five. You can't see us all. There's a
Okay,
couple
well,
of us there.
maybe-
But she's gonna
No,
try.
it's not.
Okay, wait, we're gonna try one more time, and we promise we'll let y'all go.
Because when I saw it, I got excited and I did it because I never knew how to do it. No, it's not that. Actually.
Yeah, just go to background settings and that blur background.
Yeah,
Oh,
put normal.
I think it's under here somewhere.
Can you scroll
Isn't
down?
it?
No.
It's not. It's
I only know
Sharon's.
it from my phone.
So sad.
Wait, go to more. We're gonna try one more thing. Wait, go down here.
You did it on your thing.
I know.
Maybe
Is the whiteboard?
Bro, we use Teams at my job though.
Oh,
We
I
don't
hate
use,
Teams.
we don't use.
All right.
All right.
Oh.
Never mind.
Well,
You
tell
said
me
it.
to pull it. How to change blurred? Hang in there, guys. Background on Zoom. What is it? Using blurred Zoom. Click settings. Using blurred prerequisites. How to enable. How to enable blurred.
I know, it's.
I only know how to
No,
do
I
it.
don't do it on Teams.
It's under settings, I think.
It's okay.
Click blur in the bottom left of the video arrow, start video, stop video button. Click blur. That's weird. What did you want to say, Audra?
Well, I had a question since I have my Win Love Wins book upside down, right side up. If you guys would join us, I want my face for face. No, that's too close. Okay, if you would join us for singing happy birthday to Nicole, because if y'all can't make it to the party tomorrow, you can get it in right now. I'm in here.
Putting us on the spot.
That's right. Y'all gotta get your
Lord.
you're singing
Who's all back there? That's So Audra, Hope, who else is there?
Hope Jamia Lewis, you would know
Oh,
as
got the whole gang there. Okay.
Yep. And
Look
then
at
Hope, you already said Hope. And then D, she's known since high school. She's back here behind her. You can't see her. And then
Okay.
Sophie as well, who's right here. Where are the blurs in the background?
Nobody knows how to unblur.
We don't matter. It's all
You
about
just
the
gotta see
code.
one way. There's something.
So here we go.
right,
Oh, you wanna try?
She's gonna try it one more time.
I keep going to the same thing. You know, you do the same thing and stuff.
Yeah.
Let me try one more thing. Let me try one more thing.
Where
Hold
did
on.
you go
I
back?
found it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, everybody get in. Here's Hope right there. Here's Jamia right here.
Hey, Jamia.
There we go. All right, and Dee's back there. You can't see her, but
Where's she hiding?
There. She got her scarf on, y'all. She doesn't know y'all like that, so you can't see
We're
her.
gonna
in
blur her
scarf on.
out.
Okay, so here we go, guys. Your best singing voice. I know,
Oh
joking. All right.
boy.
1, 2, 3. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Nicole. Happy birthday to you. Oh wait, one more. For the black people or black people by osmosis, people on the line. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
That was fun. That was fun.
Thank you guys so much.
That was hilarious.
Thank you guys.
Well, thank you, alumni, for supporting her up there in Cleveland.
Yes, I have amazing friends. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Good to see you.
Hey.
If you're in C-Town, come through tomorrow night. Otherwise, make sure you download the ebook and put up a review.
That's right.
Thank you guys for your support. I appreciate you all. Love you guys dearly. Have a good night.
See you later.
That was funny about the blur. I was like,